Hello. One of the questions I'm often asked by new gardeners is, when will I know when it's time to harvest my potatoes? What the gardener's trying to avoid is going too early, because if you go too early, you're going to finish up with lots of very small potatoes. Maybe even not a lot of small potatoes, but there won't be many bigger potatoes because the plant hasn't had long enough to develop them, to swell them. You've gone too early, so you want to try and avoid going too early. So what's the answer? Well, leave them in a little longer. If you think you might be going too early, leave them in a little longer. But the problem is, if you're watching YouTube videos, there'll be videos on the channel that say harvesting potatoes in 80 days. And you'll look at your planting date and you'll say, yeah, mine are ready. They've been in 80 days. And when you take them, you've lots of small potatoes. And you know you've gone too soon. And then there's a video that's harvesting potatoes on 90 days, on 100 days, on 120 days. That's not the way it works. You know, we've got to take the variety of potato into account and the growing conditions. For example, this year in the UK, we had a very cold April with lots of frosts. Potatoes weren't growing. They might have been in, but they weren't growing. It was too cold. So it's going to take longer for those potatoes to mature. Just be aware of that. But there is one indicator that would tell you now is the time to harvest a potato. And we're going to do it shortly, and I'll show you a good example of that. And that time is when the potato starts to die. The plant starts to die. It starts to go yellow from bottom up. The leaves go yellow from bottom up. If they're going yellow from top down, you're in trouble. Something's not right with that plant. But in the natural scheme of things, when a potato plant starts to die off, the leaves start to turn yellow from the bottom and work their way up the plant. So if you've got a potato that looks like that, it's time to harvest it. Even if you don't get much off it, it's time to harvest it, because those potatoes that are on that plant will not get any bigger. The plant's dying, it's run its race. It needs to be harvested. And that's what we're going to do today. I've got a plant outdoors, celandine. It's a potato called celandine. Now, I know when I planted it, and I know today's date, and I could tell you how many days that potato has been in this bucket. But it's meaningless. It's meaningless. To me it isn't, because I know what growing conditions I've had, and I can factor that in. But if this has taken me a long time to grow, it doesn't mean it'll take you a long time to grow. You might have better growing conditions. If this has taken me a short time to grow, doesn't mean it won't take you long to grow a potato, because you might have harder growing conditions than I've got. So the date it went in and the date it came out, very relevant to you, really. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this potato is ready to be harvested. And I'll show you a good example of leaves yellowing from the bottom up. Then we'll take this potato. Oh, and while I remember, I think I've done 2 or 3 potato reviews this year. And the big potatoes that I haven't actually wanted to take, but they've been damaged in some way. In some way the potato was finished. Okay, but it hadn't run its race, it hadn't run its course. It was finished prematurely, really. And the best I've done in terms of a weighing is 1.75 pounds from one potato grown in a 10-inch water bucket. So I'd really like to break that £2 mark if I could today. But we'll only find that out when we go outdoors, harvest the potato, and then we'll do a weighing. Okay, and one last thing before we do this. Take particular note of the compost when it comes out. It should hold together if the bucket has been well watered. If I've neglected the watering, when I take this bucket off, the soil will fall all over the place. The mix will fall all over the place, and that will be an indication that that bucket hasn't had enough water. If it stays in its original shape when the bucket comes off, yeah, there's enough water in there, maybe too much, I don't know, but certainly it hasn't been underwatered, and therefore I wouldn't expect too many smallish potatoes. Hopefully it'll be a reasonable harvest. If the soil, the mixture, looks wet, looks moist. Okay, let's go and do it. Yeah? Let's do it. Well, we're happy with this. I'll bet this isn't far off £2. We'll soon find out. How's that look? One went in, all this lot came out. Oh, I missed one. Just look at the molly, found a molly. Okay, let's get these scales set up. Are you lifting your potatoes yet? How are they doing? Have you gone too early on any of them? Come on, tell the truth. Have you lifted them and thought, too soon, they would have been much bigger if I'd given them another couple of weeks? Have you done that? Hey, don't worry, we've all done that. We've all done that. But there was no leaving this potato plant, was there? As you could see, all those yellow leaves on the bottom, the plant was dying from the bottom up. So it had to be harvested. Right. Let me see if I can get all these on these scales. Oh yeah. Will they tip it onto that £2, do you think? So, come on! Right on the knocker! That's £2, right on the knocker. I'll tell you what, well, we're happy with that, we've got to be. 1 in, £2 out. Come on, from a 10-inch water bucket. That's a result, isn't it? That's a result. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I've enjoyed harvesting these potatoes and getting that £2. And they all look sound to me. They look a quality potato. So we're happy with that. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.